enforcement.
May I add to this? I think that a very relevant consideration is what my associate mentioned, that small bicycle manufacturers have left the market. This is an issue that's been brought to this Commission's attention for 3 years running. I think that certainly carving out metals will be appropriate and appreciated by industry. But I think that you shouldn't take false comfort in thinking it's solving the problem, unless you're indifferent to what happens to small business. If this is intended to be a gift to my industry associates Hasbro and Mattel, craft it narrowly and make us meet the standard irrevocably on everything else, and then we will just slowly winnow out. It's a gift to big business. If you make the standard so tight that only the greatest experts can meet it, or the people with the greatest resources, as you've received testimony today, you should at least do that knowing what you're doing, which is killing small business.
I certainly appreciate that comment. And I did notice in your outline, at least, Mr. Woldenberg used the following phrase: technological feasibility, an utterly commercially unrealistic standard. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes.
I'd appreciate it.
The reason it's commercially unrealistic is that we have to make decisions based on money. We don't have an infinite amount of money. An example of that is many months ago, the CPSC came out with a list of materials that we could use freely in our toys because they're lead-free. And that list included gold, platinum, palladium, rhodium, iridium, ruthenium, diamonds, rubies, and so on, and surgical steel. That wasn't really very helpful because we really can't replace plastic in our toys with gold and platinum and encrust it with jewels and sell it for $18. So I believe that anything can be achieved for money. So it's technologically feasible is commercially unrealistic because I'm limited by money. And my customers are limited by money. So even if I had an infinite amount of money, my customers don't. So I can't in good conscience, hand on the Bible, tell you that anything that you want me to achieve can't be achieved. And possible is not the same thing as consistently. So there's a great deal of randomness if my standard is what's possible, because I'm not sure I can do it consistently. The other thing that the phrase I've used to illustrate why technologically feasible is unrealistic is the saying, if Rolex can do it, Timex must do it. Rolex charges $11,000 for a watch. Timex charges $20. It's not the same ballgame.
That's a very thoughtful answer, and I certainly appreciate it. I guess what I'm still not clear about is, are you telling me that we should ignore the law and not follow it, or are you telling me that I should interpret it in a particular way? Because I'm not prepared, at least at this point, to read a definition of technologically feasible and ignore what the law directs me to do. So I guess my question is, how would you interpret those terms? It sounds like you're interpreting them as making it impossible for you to meet, and you're asking me not to comply with the law, and maybe I'm misinterpreting what you're saying.
Well, as you know, I'm a lawyer, and I know you're a lawyer, and so I'm not going to advise you not to follow the law. The law, however, has irrevocable consequences, and so there's a question of conscience here. There are some things that I think everyone on the Commission knows that I think the CPSC has done that has not rigorously followed the law. And I'm a little confused by sometimes when the CPSC follows it strictly and sometimes when the CPSC follows it not so strictly. And as a lawyer, I'm a little confused as to what counts and what doesn't. But in terms of this and your specific question, and it's an extremely important question, if you're going to sell small business down the river, then maybe you focus your energy on getting Congress to loosen up the knot, because you can't in good conscience do what they want you to do. They may have done it in good faith, they may have done it for the right reasons in their heart, but it's wrong, and we can't do it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just one last question, if I might, and this would be of the group at large. Assuming, again, that we were to make a determination with respect to some group of things that we would label as a product category, The statute also directs us on an ongoing basis to revisit this from time to time. And so I guess one question I would have, given the what you've all acknowledged was a fairly dramatic change in the marketplace, do you have any idea whether the market ultimately will be able to shift to meet the 100 parts per million? Do you have any sense, assuming that it is difficult or impossible to do, whether that is on the horizon that we will reach that hallowed ground?
I can tell you that the data I've given you says that we're more than 98% of the way there. And any responsible company that's manufacturing for this industry is going to make very strong, good efforts to always improve their products. If you remove the law and made us subject to nothing, our products would not degrade. We would continue to make every effort to make them better. And I believe that our products will continue to get better. I want our products to get better. And of course, I have as much commitment as anyone in the room, if not more, to the health and safety of children. So I really think that you can anticipate that things will improve. What I'm arguing for is let us survive financially as that happens.
Thank you all very much.
May I address Commissioner Adler's question for just a moment on the legal standard of feasibility? I would commend to you a slightly different approach than my colleague did, because I think that Congress intended you to evaluate feasibility not as an abstract theoretical principle, but as a practical construct in the sector that you are studying. So to look at bicycles, for example, absolutely it's technologically feasible to meet 100 ppm if we make the bike out of carbon fiber. But that will be a several $1,000 bicycle. It will not be sold at Toys R Us.